Welcome to Crime Most French, a fortnightly podcast covering intriguing cases carried out on French soil. Researched and narrated by Cedric and rudely interrupted by me, Melanie. We're the true crime podcast on the Alliance. Crack open le vin and let the mayhem commence.
The episode this week is the story of Louis-Joseph Philippe, the French Jack the Ripper. At the end of the 1880s, Jack the Ripper killed many prostitutes in London. To this day, researchers ponder who he was, but 22 years earlier, Louis-Joseph Philippe killed up to 8 prostitutes and 2 kids, and is considered the French Jack the Ripper.
Oh, right, so he roughly killed about the same number of women as Jack the Ripper.
Yes.
Jack the Ripper killed 6, so...
Okay, so he killed more prostitutes and 2 kids on top.
Yeah, just to make him even more evil, let's throw in a couple of children as well.
Yes.
Lovely.
On the 15th of April, 1864, a prostitute is found dead in Paris. Not much surprising in that. Like today, they were an at-risk population.
They always seem to be the most vulnerable of society, sex workers, don't they?
Yes. Yeah. But what is more surprising is that it's the 7th in a short time. It's starting to feel like something is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, at the time, they didn't really have the concept of serial killer because Murdoch hadn't invented it yet.
No.
The sequential killer.
Yeah.
So they didn't really have that concept, but they kind of found it surprising that they found so many prostitutes dead in such a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
The director of Sûreté, which is the old police, word for police.
Doesn't the Sûreté still kind of exist anyway?
No, it doesn't exist anymore. No, it was transformed into the police service in Paris. And some of it became the secret service.
Oh, I see. All right.
It was kind of split into 2.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, you have to add the gendarmerie, which came from the army.
I think I'm thinking of the Pink Panther.
Okay.
I think Clouseau always refers to himself as coming from the Sûreté.
I haven't seen the Pink Panther film, so
Once again, taking all my facts from film and television is never a good idea.
Yes. So, director of Sûreté, Monsieur Claude, isn't happy because he has no clue what's going on, and that's his responsibility to solve these murders.
Mm.
The prostitute was Julie Robert, 26, and she had been dead for 4 days by the time they found her.
Ooh, nasty.
She was discovered in her flat, 14 Rue Saint-Joseph in Paris, with her throat slashed.
Right.
It was so deep that she was nearly decapitated. Only her vertebrae were still kind of connected.
Oh, that's down to the bone.
Oh, down to the bone, yes. That's all that was left. She fought back because her arms and hands were covered in bruises.
Oh, dear. That's always upsetting to hear.
Theft seemed to be the main motive. Her wallet, which was, according to witnesses, supposed to contain a good amount of money, is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But strangely, the thief forgot 1,300 francs that were hidden in a pile of bed sheets.
So she was clearly, making good money. If that's a lot.
Yes. Yeah, she didn't have a pimp, so she was working for herself.
Right.
So she was keeping all the money.
No middleman.
No middleman.
Okay.
So either he was disturbed, that's what the Sûreté thinks,
mm-hmm.
or he didn't really care about the money, which would be weird. Witnesses that saw Julie say that she was accompanied by a man of average height, black hair, kind of a buzz cut, and particularly shiny eyes that were scary.
Right.
That's what they described.
So is he related to Rasputin in some way then?
Yeah, essentially that's what I imagined, but with short hair.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, Rasputin had horrible, long, oily hair, didn't he?
Yes.
Hmm.
The Sûreté knows that guy. That's the 7th time that is described by witnesses.
Okay.
So they are now thinking that's the same guy that killed all these women. His MO seems to be that he first gets into contact with the women, then robs them only if they're alone and without a pimp.
Mm-hmm.
He then spends the night with them, and in the morning he strangles them or cuts their throats.
So he's got 2 means of...
according to Sûreté, the choice of method depends on how conscious they are at the time.
Oh, I see. So, I mean, if they're fairly unconscious, then they get their throat cut,
Yes.
presumably.
Otherwise, they get strangled.
Yeah.
The Sûreté thinks that, yes, theft is the motive, but he seems to only be interested in getting his own money back.
So he's looking for a refund?
Yes, he's not looking to steal money that isn't his own, but yeah, he's looking for a refund, which is very, very, very strange. They've never seen that before.
Yeah, that's kind of bizarre. It's kind of like, take that. I've taken your services, but I'm taking my money back.
Yeah.
He obviously, clearly, I mean, I hate to state the obvious, there's absolutely no respect for these women.
Yes. Yeah, but they can't understand why he can't even be bothered looking for money, because they all had money with them, and he just doesn't care.
He's clearly not motivated by money, so
No.
It's not really robbery at all.
No. Because at the time there's no scientific police or anything like that. They haven't invented the fingerprints, or as murder call them, the finger marks.
Yeah.
There's no clue to go on at all. They have absolutely nothing. All they have is fairly vague, mostly consistent, but very vague descriptions of a guy that might be involved from other people. That's all they have.
A clean-shaven, tidy Rasputin lookalike.
Yeah. So the inquiry isn't going anywhere, and because they have no witness of the scenes, they can't do anything.
No. I mean, it's almost kind of clever, isn't it, doing it behind closed doors, so you're very much minimising the being interrupted and also being seen in the act of murder.
Exactly, because being seen, for example, the previous night with one of the prostitutes doesn't make you the murderer.
Yeah, exactly.
On the following 5th of November, workers walking past the 11 Rue Sainte-Marguerite witnessed something strange. A woman is screaming and moaning from a balcony above the street. The noises are kind of disturbing, that's how they describe them, because they are like gargling and weird moaning noises.
Well, this doesn't sound like it's going to have a good ending.
Yes, but they don't stop because they assumed it was the noise of a completely drunk woman. So
right, I see.
Okay, she's pished, and they just continued walking.
Okay.
It's only 2 hours later that the truth is discovered. A man goes to the police station. Strangely, he's a well-known pimp, so the cops are kind of surprised because they don't have a very good relationship.
No, strange.
Yes, but he explained that when he went to the address, 11 Rue Sainte-Marguerite, he noticed blood on the walls coming from one of the girls' windows. So blood was dripping from the windows down on the walls.
Yeah.
The woman was Flore Mage, 32 years old.
So was this guy, was this pimp, was that one of his...
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know how to phrase that. I don't know how pimps refer to their ladies.
I have no idea.
Probably not in a very nice
Probably not,
term.
no. When he arrived in the building, he found the door locked. That's the first thing that he found weird. It wasn't normal, so he assumed something had happened. The key wasn't very far. It had been thrown across the landing. So he found it, opened the flat. And when he got in, he quickly found Flore, dead, with her 4-year-old son, Henri, also dead.
Oh, no.
Both had their throats cut. And the killer was particularly violent with the kid, apparently, because he was stabbed in the face a large number of times, and the police described it as not really looking human anymore.
That's just... that's just so destroying. That's heartbreaking. That's really, really... I mean, this guy has big issues.
Well, that guy has issues with prostitutes, but apparently he's really pissed off with kids.
Yeah.
For some reason. The Sûreté comes quickly to the crime scene as soon as they were warned by the pimp. And they have a story. What they think is Flore was attacked by the man she brought to her flat and wounded to the throat. But she didn't die very quickly, so she bled a lot, which is the blood that the pimp found dripping from the windows down on the walls.
Now, if you're going to be cutting arteries, then that's going to go far and with ferocity.
Yes. So she tried to look for help. So she went to the balcony and tried to call. But of course, her larynx had been cut, so she couldn't actually make proper noises.
Hence the gurgling.
Exactly. Hence the noises that the workers heard
Yeah.
down on the street.
I mean, it's such a shame. Even if she could have been heard, she would have died anyway. So
Oh yeah, she was going to die. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
You cut a neck artery, your your life expectancy is drastically
Yes.
reduced. So.
Yeah. So what they think is the commotion woke Henri, the kid, the 4-year-old.
Yeah.
That then would have called his mum because he was wondering what was going on, which the murderer would have heard, and therefore he went and killed him not to leave any witness.
Oh, such a shame if he'd just done the same
If
thing.
he had been quiet, he probably wouldn't have died.
Yeah, if he'd just done the same thing that the little girl did in the last episode.
Yes.
Yeah, he would have been fine.
Yeah.
Poor little poppet.
Canvassing the area, the Sûreté find an important witness. There's another prostitute who describes the same average height man with black short hair and scary eyes.
Mm-hmm.
According to her, he was in the street the previous day, soliciting the services of another prostitute named Sophie Fouché. Sophie took the man to her flat, but seeing him hide something under his coat, which had an oblong shape, she got scared. So she tried to be clever, and before they got into things, because she was a prostitute, she asked him to follow her to a local bar to have a drink first. So they do. And there Sophie tells the owner, a friend, about what she fears that guy is trying to do. And while she escapes through the kitchen, the barmaid talks to the man and tells him that she's going to call the police. And at that point, the man just runs away. So Sophie was very lucky.
Yeah, she was right to go with her gut instinct.
Yes. Sophie had time to notice something very, very important. She saw the man's bare arm, which had a tattoo of a flower and the phrase "born under bad" and then the drawing of a star, which in French means "been born unlucky."
Okay, right.
The Sûreté searches their record for tattooed men, most of them ex-prisoners, the vast majority from Guyana, but none of them has that tattoo. So, unfortunately, they have a super clue, but they can't connect it to anything.
Yeah.
So
but, I mean, they have two things that the London, the Whitehall, the Whitechapel police didn't have. They've had a description of one person, and they also have a really good description of quite a distinctive tattoo.
Yes. And they had several witnesses because he wasn't hiding, so lots of prostitutes have seen him. The problem is they don't know his name, and therefore the police can't find him because Paris is a very big city. So
yeah, but I mean, he's a regular punter amongst the ladies of the night.
Yes. A year passes, and the panic that spread in the prostitution circles somehow dissipates. But on the 8th of January 1866, it starts again.
Okay.
At the 54 Rue de Ville-l'Évêque, you can find a police station on the ground floor, or you could at the time. On the second floor lives Marie-Victorine Baudeux, a prostitute. She's well known by the police downstairs, but they leave her alone.
I suspect the people downstairs might drift upstairs and use
that
her
is
services.
Possible. I don't know. There was no mention of that in what I read,
No.
but it's possible. Anyway, they leave her alone, so she works upstairs, and they don't
They turn a blind eye.
Yeah. One of her friends is an old man who lives on the third floor, Monsieur Maloiseau, 76 years old, who treats the prostitute as his daughter.
Okay.
At 11 p.m., Monsieur Maloiseau comes back from a night walk. Who does that in January in Paris at night in the 19th century?
That's breezy.
Why would you do that?
I mean, there'd be no street lights at that point.
There might have been gas lights, maybe,
I guess
but that wouldn't have been very bright. And still, early January in Paris at night is going to be very cold and nasty.
Yeah,
But
dangerous for slipping for an old man.
But apparently that's what he did regularly.
Oh, okay.
On his way back, he decides to go and check on Marie-Victorine and wish her a good night. When he opens the door, he's face to face with a man standing in the first room of the flat. At first, he thought that Marie-Victorine was working.
Yeah.
But then the man takes off and runs down the stairs.
Okay.
He's old, he doesn't follow. He's very worried at that point because that's not normal behavior. So he searches the flat. and it's already too late. The walls are covered in blood, and Marie-Victorine's head is barely connected to the rest of her body. Talking to Monsieur Claude, the chief of police, he says that the murder was for absolutely nothing. On Marie-Victorine's request, he was keeping all of her money in his flat.
Right.
So there was absolutely nothing to steal in hers.
Yeah, so he was the banker as well as a friend then.
Yes, or the bookkeeper, or
Yes.
whatever. But yeah, she probably was worried to be robbed by clients, I suspect.
Oh, yeah.
So he was keeping all her money. So there was nothing to
Yes.
take in her flat.
That's very common.
He describes the man he saw, and of course, the police knows him. It's the prostitute killer again.
Yeah.
But this time it's personal. Because not only the number of victims is spiraling, at that point we're talking 10.
Yeah.
9 or 10. But the last murder was committed just above a police station.
Yeah, that's...
So now the cops are really pissed off.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically essentially going outside a police station and pulling your trousers down and mooning at them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now they're really annoyed. So now they want to find out who that is. Unfortunately, still nothing to go on. They have an additional description of, again, the same average height man with dark hair, short, and scary eyes. But that doesn't give them anything they didn't know before. So what they're hoping for is, at some point, hopefully, he will make a mistake. And they'll catch him.
Yes.
That mistake takes place on the 11th of January 1866, so they don't have long to wait.
Okay.
3 days later. Madame Midi, a widow who spent most of her time painting, hears a knock at her door. It's a man with a painter's coat who says that he's here to collect the tools that his boss left in her flat. His boss is a picture framer, and she knows the guy who's knocking at the door because he came the previous week to deliver frames to her for her paintings.
So she's a painter as in pictures, not a painter decorator.
No, she's a painter as in pictures, yes, and she gets them framed, I guess.
Yes.
So she's seen him, so she trusts him. She doesn't.
Yeah.
She's not worried because he's been there before.
Yeah, but one thing she's not is she's not a prostitute.
She's not a prostitute, no. As soon as he's in, the man puts a pillowcase on her head and tries to strangle her.
Okay. He's definitely escalating.
He's changing his MO.
Yeah.
Strangely, yes. And also now he just comes to kill.
Yeah,
because he hasn't paid. She's not a prostitute, so he just comes in and tries to kill her.
Yeah, there's no exchange of services or anything. It's just...
so it's like he dropped the motivation, now he just wants to kill.
He just wants to kill and, still in that controlled environment of a flat.
Well, it's safer.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't have people screaming in the street. So.
No.
But she has the reflex of biting him very hard on the arm.
Well done, lady. Well done, Madame Midi.
Yeah, that makes him release her and gives her time to scream.
Mm-hmm.
The nearest neighbor, another painter, hears the screams. So he rushes to her flat and he reaches the landing in front of her door just as the man is running out of the flat. The man tells him that it's nothing, Madame Midi had a fall. He's not convinced, because she's not that old.
No.
And he thinks it's a very weak explanation for the noise he heard. So he runs after the mystery man down the stairs, shouting, "Stop him."
Yeah. You mean when you have a fall, you tend to cry. You tend not to let out a blood-curdling scream.
Exactly, yes. So to him it made no sense.
Yes.
So instead of going to see her, he follows the guy. As the two men leave the building, they meet two cops who were coming to investigate the screams.
So, I mean, in terms of him, the murderer, being unlucky, for timing, it's pretty bad. Two policemen just
this time,
yes.
Yeah, because he didn't do it at night either.
Right, okay.
So he completely changed the way he did things. As they pass the cop, one of them trips the man, who falls to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And as he does, he releases a pillowcase covered in blood. His blood.
From the bite.
From the bite. So that must have been a nasty bite.
Yeah.
And he also drops a large kitchen knife.
Right.
He has brown hair, piercing eyes, apparently, according to the police as well. I don't know what that means, but anyway, piercing eyes. And more importantly, he has a tattoo of a flower and the phrase born under a bad star. So they know who he is, and they know they were looking for him.
Yeah. These are in the days of when only bad uns had tattoos.
Yes. So they arrest him and take him to the police station.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally unclear why he changed his MO, why he suddenly targeted a woman that wasn't a prostitute, why he did it during the day.
That's weird.
It makes no sense, and not for money. So nobody understands why he did that, but the police is happy that they finally arrested him.
Yeah.
At the police station, he doesn't hide his identity. He is Louis-Joseph Philippe, yes. He was born on the 1st of October 1831 in Villemois-Franc, north of Lyon. He's recognizable by his face pocked with chickenpox, but strangely I didn't find that description in any of the witness statement before.
He just couldn't get past his mysterious
the eyes, I guess, yes. It's like the hypnotoad. After a stint in the army, where he was discharged for being drunk and for other unmilitary behavior, whatever that means, I don't know.
That's probably being rough with prostitutes.
I don't know. It was obviously code for something at the time, but I don't know what for. So he was discharged dishonorably, I guess, now.
Yes.
During the day, he does lots of small jobs. He was a cook, he was a butcher apprentice, he was a few other things. A flour seller, I think, as well.
Oh, hence the reason he was so good with his blade then, if he
probably,
was
yes, he probably learned to cut
apprentice.
meat, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And at night, he's the prostitute killer that the cops have been searching for 5 years. So he says, yeah, that's me, that's who you're looking for. He lives 10 Rue de Seine in a really nasty rundown flat. And in that flat, the police discovered lots of objects that they identify were stolen from the last 3 victims.
Oh, these serial killers can never help themselves for taking a wee trophy so they can relive it over again, yes.
Exactly. But strangely, he denies having killed the other 6 prostitutes.
Right.
So they don't understand that.
He's happy for 3.
He's happy for 3, but not for all of them.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, even though there's witnesses tying him to all of them. But
yeah.
No, he says, no, it's not me, I didn't do the other 6. So that goes to trial. And during the trial, there's a dozen prostitutes who testify that they know him, and also that testify that they know he's extremely violent. So he was known for being violent in the prostitution circles.
Right.
Some were attacked by him. For example, there's a Madame Meurant who he attacked on the 1st of March 1864, so 2 years earlier. Seeing the knife, she panicked, and according to her description, she went berserk. So she fought him so hard that he ran away and gave up.
Wow. I mean, I guess these women are used to, dealing with men turning ugly.
Oh, probably, yes. They're not used to getting killed, though.
No.
But, yeah, she obviously panicked and fought really, really hard in her case.
Yeah.
But she recognized him, so... Another one reports that she met him in a cafe, Place de la Bourse, not far from your favorite whiskey shop. And he told her, apparently, I love girls and I take care of them. I take care of them very well. I cut their throats and I take my money back. You'll hear about me, I'll get the guillotine. It's a weird thing to say to a prostitute, but he was right.
Yes. Spoilers. Yeah. Like we weren't going to be able to guess he was going to.
Well, the jury sentenced him to death in a record time. Apparently, it was like go into the room, come back, and yeah, he's guilty. We're going to shorten him.
Oh, I mean, he admitted it. Well, at least to 3, and
he admitted
witnesses.
at least to the 3 murders, which is enough to be executed anyway. So he is executed on the 28th of July, 1866. But just before that, he confesses to all 6 missing murders.
Oh, I see. He eventually comes. He finds his conscience pricks him so hard.
Apparently, yes. That must have been that.
Admit it.
Yeah. So at least we know he killed all these women and 2 kids. Monsieur Code, the chief of police, wrote his memoirs, and in them he says that Louis-Joseph refused help from the executioner when he went to the guillotine. He smiled until he was under the blade, and his head was cut off. His head is kept in the Dupuytren Museum. I don't know if it's still there. I've never heard of that museum. If they have it, no idea. But anyway, according to him, it was there. and his last second smiley face was frozen in death.
Right.
So apparently his severed head was still smiling, which is a bit creepy.
That's very creepy.
So it isn't known what his motivation was. He never explained it. He never said why he was doing what he was doing. He never explained why he changed his MO. But at least all these murders were solved, unlike the Jack the Ripper one.
Yeah, well, I mean, he made that last big mistake, didn't he?
Yeah, by changing what he was doing that was working. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows why he's done that.
I mean, Jack the Ripper was working on the streets and was just going up to these women and slashing their throats kind of like from behind. So, I mean, they never stood a chance.
Yes.
Whereas this guy was, using their services and then killing them.
Yes, and then taking his money back.
Yeah.
Yes.
It seems to be almost more malicious, almost more vindictive.
It's more personal.
Yeah,
because he's kind of learned to know them.
Yes.
Between their bunnies.
Yes.
A little bit before he killed them. So it's not like a random person in the street that Jack the Ripper would have killed.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming Jack the Ripper didn't stalk his victims, we don't know. At least I don't know, because I never really looked into that. But he was clearly meeting these women, spending the night with them, and then killing them.
Yeah.
So it was way more personal.
And then that action of taking his own money back.
And taking his own money back, yes. But not theirs, because he didn't care.
Yeah, and it'd be really interesting to see what about his. I mean, now we would know everything about him. If he had done it, say, in the 20s or something, we would know all about his young life and why he would feel the need to do that. But obviously we don't know much about him.
No, there's very little known about him.
Yeah, I would think that would make.
And he was born in the countryside as well, so there's really nothing to go on.
But there you go. I think the one thing that we've learned today is always be wary of people with piercing eyes, because they can have piercing implements.